Mask of a Diva, a Stan Kraychik mystery, Book 4, 1994. Author, Grant Michaels. Publisher, St. Martin's Press, New York. Author, Eric Aust. For all the divas, operatic and otherwise. Chapter 33. Daphne's recent shift in attitude toward me had been a painful surprise. I'd expected her to comprehend Lieutenant Branco's behavior better since she herself had fallen under his spell when she first met him. How unfair of her first to admit the theory that Branco might be harboring latent desire for me and then to reprimand me and warn me to keep away from him, just in case he was. Perhaps Daphne was a frustrated mother and the opera festival hadn't provided quite enough challenge, quite the insurrection to traditional family values that a surrogate gay son did. So like any concerned mother, she told me how she wanted me to behave, and I, like any spoiled young rebel with a car, took off. I drove into town on the excuse to get something to eat, but I also wanted to be on my own. Try to sort things out with the killings and maybe even the Vito Branco love boat. I found a small pizzeria near the train station. It was a crummy old place with blinding fluorescent lights and red plastic-topped tables, and I wondered how it had escaped the steamroller of gentrification that had run through the once sleepy town of Abigail by the Sea to make way for the performance center and the ensuing opera festival. There was no gourmet toppings to be had in that place, no smoking shredded chicken or wilted arugula in balsamic marmalade, and no fancy cheeses either. No chèvre, no jalapeno jack, no low-fat, nothing. The only cheese option on the menu was called extra. So, under the culinary circumstances, I was surprised to find among the local clientele that evening two of the principal singers from the opera, April Kilkis and Hwang Young Cho. They didn't notice me go into the place, and I watched them together for a while as they ate pizza and drank beer. There was a sense of private celebration between them, great elation as though they had won a great victory, despite the heavy cost, just like the Macbeths after the banquet. I put in my order for a plain cheese pizza with extra sauce and a burnt crust. Then I took my first beer with me and stopped by the singer's table, which was on the way to the only vacant seat in the place in a far corner near the busing wagon. "I didn't expect to see you folks in a place like this," I said, "especially the night before the full dress rehearsal." Hwang looked up from the table-sized pizza in front of them. "We weren't exactly looking forward to seeing you either," he said with a snarl. Maybe he was just polishing the fine points of his stage role as Renato. I said, "I watched some of the rehearsal today. You were both captivating. I guess working under a murder suspect hasn't affected your performances." Hwang spat his reply. "Jonathan Byers isn't guilty of anything." "Except maybe bad manners," I said. "And you know plenty about that," replied Hwang. April interjected. "And as for our singing, it's just another benefit of good technique. It helps you sing under any circumstances, no matter how extreme." Hwang picked up the big cutting knife that had come with their pizza. He gripped it tightly in his big fist, since their pizza had been mostly cut. I assumed he meant to threaten me, but it was an idle threat, and I wasn't frightened. What was he going to do? Stab me in the pizzeria? "I'm sure you'll both always sing well," I said, "provided you get the opportunity, even if you have to create it." "Are you still on that kick?" said Hwang. "You have to admit," I said, "if Marcella Ostinata was still alive, you two wouldn't exactly be partying for April's good luck." "That's all it was," said Hwang with his teeth clenched. "Just plain luck. We didn't kill anybody. We were just lucky." "Who's we?" I said. "April's the only one who got the prize, not you." April said quickly, "You forget that we're married, and what is good for me is good for my husband." "I hadn't forgot that at all," I said. "In fact, it seems to strengthen your motive." "We haven't done anything wrong," said April. "Why can't you accept that?" I said, "Aren't either of you even a tiny bit concerned that there's a killer loose among the cast and crew?" Huang said. We can take care of ourselves, but if you're so worried about safety, maybe you should leave town yourself. Then he stabbed the pizza viciously with the point of the cutting knife. Before something happens to you. It was the kind of excessive gesture that might work on stage, in costume under bright lights, at the end of a sustained climatic note with cymbals crashing and trumpets blaring. But in real life, in a small-town pizzeria, Huang's attack on the pizza with that big knife was a travesty of a dangerous man. If he wasn't careful, such operatic histrionics could become a habit, and his life would become a caricature. I went to my table, but while I sat there waiting for my pizza and picking the label off my beer bottle, I got an idea. Why should I sit in that dreary, dingy place and eat my pizza all alone near a cart full of dirty dishes? Why not get the pizza to go with another beer, then drive up to one of the ocean bluffs and eat it out there, under the open night sky? Which is exactly what I did. As I sat on a rocky ledge, pizza slab in one hand, beer bottle in the other, I looked out over the ocean and wondered about my lover Rafik. Somewhere across the vast miles of water before me in Paris at the very moment, he was probably sleeping. Was he dreaming of me? Was he even alone? That was when I had the first troubling sense of the possibility, however remote, that I might never see him again. Absurd, I thought. I'll see him within a week. Such a rational fear was probably nothing more than what my cat Sugar Baby experienced when gazing out the window from Nicole's penthouse. Did Sugar Baby ever wonder if I'd return, or did she perceive me merely as the red-haired can opener, the one that sometimes went away and then came back? Was I only something expedient, a piece of good luck, convenient but eminently replaceable? Then I wondered if that's how I perceived Rafik, as Mr. Expedient, who had filled the void of love in my life. I left the last few pieces of pizza out on the rocks for the seagulls and disposed of the remaining debris properly. I got back to the estate by 11 o'clock and rang the doorbell to the big house to tell Parker that I was home safe and would be staying in the cottage that night. Then the fun began. The maestro's head and hand emerged from the library door, just off the foyer. He beckoned me inside. I asked Parker if it was all right to go in, and all he said was, "As you please, Mr. Kraychik." I guess he had gone stuffy on me, too. Inside the library, the maestro was having a whiskey and a cigarette. I complimented him on the rehearsal that afternoon and told him how much I had enjoyed it. He nodded modestly. "It is El Signor Verdi you should praise." I asked him what he wanted to talk about. "Ah," he said with a smile. "You are too serious, like El Tuente." The maestro sipped his whiskey, then said, "I think this John Byers is a brilliant man, and he is also a foolish man. But he is not a killer." "So you don't believe he killed Madame Ostinata?" "John Byers kills no one." "Then who did?" I said. "I think still it was the girl," said the maestro. "The girl? La Ronda. I see her always with Carolyn. She is in love with Carolyn. Do you know that? I think maybe La Ronda kills Marcella for Carolyn." "Carolyn? How is that connected to Madame Ostinata?" The maestro smiled broadly. "You do not see?" "No," I said. "Then I will explain. Carolyn wants a great success for April. If April has a big career, Carolyn will follow her. So La Ronda kills Marcella to make for April her big chance to sing." I had already examined the theory myself, and it sounded too far-fetched. I had even put the test to myself. Would I kill someone else to benefit Rafik? And the answer was a fast and definite no. I wasn't even sure I'd give up my own life. That's when I got down to the nitty-gritty and asked myself, why should I? Why should Rafik's life be any more worthy than mine? Just because he was sexier? Did that make him more worthy to live? Then I wondered, could Rhonda feel an even stronger love for Carolyn than I felt for Rafik? As far as I knew, Carolyn had not even yielded to Rhonda's attentions yet. Perhaps women were genetically encoded to sacrifice their lives more readily. Maybe it was connected with the mother stuff. Rhonda had appeared suspicious enough to me. Maybe the maestro had a point. Then I wondered why the maestro was telling me any of this. Was he trying to distract me from something I wasn't seeing yet? Could he have killed both Madama and Daniel? He did admit to staying late after the rehearsal, which is when he claims he saw Rhonda playing with a dagger. Maybe he was playing with the dagger himself, preparing to use it on Daniel, and was waiting that afternoon for Rhonda to leave the premises before committing the deed. Perhaps he had the same motive he was attributing to Rhonda, to further April's career, and perhaps, as an afterthought, he had seen the connection between Rhonda and Carolyn as a convenient way to deflect any suspicion of himself onto Rhonda. But the question remained, why would he kill Daniel? Why did anyone kill Daniel? What did Daniel know? Somehow, I felt that was the key to finding out who had killed Marcella. What did Daniel know? I heard myself asking him. Said the maestro. Daniel, the wig man who was stabbed. What did he know? The maestro shuddered. You must find Lalonda, she said. She can tell you everything. Thanks for the tip, I said. Thanks for nothing. I bade the maestro good night and went back to the cottage, where I took a warm bath and went to bed, only to be attended by visions of people shrieking and wielding knives and slashing throats and stabbing pizzas. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.